Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Welcome to Qwilr Design Class, where we will unlock the power of the web through visual storytelling. My name is Iris. I am part of the Qwilr digital design team, and I will be your instructor for today. First things first, I would like to note that this design class assumes your basic familiarity with Qwilr. If you're new to it, no worries. Feel free to stay for valuable tips, and afterward, consider watching our Qwilr 101 on-demand webinar for a comprehensive introduction to the basics. Over the next hour, we'll explore how to make our Qwilr pages look great. We'll also share some design tips and tricks to enhance your pages. Since we only have an hour for our design class, we will dedicate the majority of our time for the demo and the remaining minutes for the live Q&A. Before we start our design class, we have some housekeeping items that we would like to mention. First, where can I post my questions? Your questions can be posted on our chat box. We have our fellow designers here who will be answering your questions. Next, can I turn on or off my video? By default, your camera is turned off. Next, my mic is mute. How do we unmute it? Your microphone will be muted for the next 40 minutes to ensure a smooth webinar. Now, what is Qwilr? Qwilr is a modern sales proposal software, but that's not all. Qwilr also represents a modern way to sell. With Qwilr, you can create customized and engaging sales materials, ultimately impressing prospective clients by simply sharing a URL instead of dealing with numerous bulky attachments. As I mentioned earlier, I am part of Qwilr's digital design team. What do we do as the digital design team of Qwilr? We are the team that specializes in transforming your documents into visually stunning and interactive Qwilr pages to help you stand out and leave a lasting impression on your clients. In this demo, we will show you how to transform a document into a Qwilr page from a designer's point of view. Before we proceed with our demo, we want to share a simple acronym that you can use as a guide when designing your Qwilr pages. Our acronym is GREAT. Let's break down what that means. G is for gather and group. This is collecting and arranging content to make the page easier to use and understand. An example of this is ensuring you have all content and assets ready. R is for readability. This means keeping the text legible and understandable for anyone who reads your page. For example, make sure that you use a simple font style. E is for emphasis. This means highlighting key content to clearly convey your message. This can be done by using your accent colors or stylizing your text to bold, H1, H2, and so on. A is for artistry. This is the importance of infusing creativity and artistic touches into your Qwilr pages. This can be by adding images, icons, etc. to your pages. T is for tailored. This means customizing your page to showcase your brand and message effectively. This can be by incorporating your company logo and brand colors. Again, it's G for gather and group, R for readability, E for emphasis, A for artistry, T for tailored. Now that we know that our acronym is great, let's move on to the next part of our design class, which is our live demo. But just to remind everyone, if you have any questions, feel free to send them anytime on our chat box. You don't have to wait for the design class to finish before sending your questions. Our fellow designers are on standby to answer them for you. Here we go. So we prepared this sample partnership agreement in a PDF. This document is divided into different sections like introduction, partnership overview, testimonial, terms and conditions, case study, and our contact information. Now, what we would like to see is for our partnership agreement to look like this. This is the completed Qwilr page, and we will be showing you how to make it look like this. Awesome, right? Okay. To save time for our webinar, we already transferred the contents of the document to a Qwilr page and also uploaded the necessary assets that we need to design our page. This represents the gather and group in our acronym GREAT. Let's start with a hero block. We will be adding a splash background by clicking on the plus sign at the very top of the page. Let's go to the image library by choosing the View All button. then choosing our desired background. So what I did was this. There we go. Now let's change the opacity to 0% and change the block width to large and the spacing to full. This allows the block to occupy the whole screen of your computer. Next, we will add the two-column feature. So let's add that over here, followed by our logo and our hero block text. So I'll just go onto the images and then select the logo, as well as copy and paste our text. There we go. Let's edit the styles into H1 and H2. So if you want, you can change this text size to make it less overwhelming for your customer. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm changing the alignment as well to make it more readable. There we go. Now this represents the readability of the acronym grade. How does this fall under readability? By changing the styles of H1 and H2, we set the distinction between the heading, subheadings, and the paragraph, making our content easier to read. So maybe I want to make this bigger. There we go. Lastly, let's add an image to the right side. You can choose whatever image that you can see is fitting for your brand. So with Qwilr, there are multiple ways that you can design your block. Feel free to experiment with our two-column feature. Next is the introduction block. So that we're done with the hero block, we can delete this already. There's the introduction block that I was talking about. Same as above, I've already added the splash background image that you can see here. This time we're choosing a light colored background. Let's fix the text and set the headers into H1 and H2. Now let's add the sender's photo by using the two-column feature. This headshot photo right here. We can move it over here, so swap columns. And we're gonna make it smaller. Let's change the image frame from none to circular. And reposition the picture. Next, let's grab the text below and paste them to the right side of the two column. We can delete bits now that we're not using it. Just fix the alignment a bit. And change the headings. So by changing the headings, you're representing the emphasis on our acronym grade. Emphasizing the name and information of our representative also gives a bit more personal touch on the introduction block. I'm just going to change it a little bit more until I'm satisfied. There we go. Let's move on to the overview block. This time we'll stick to the regular text block. We can change the color of the block by selecting from one of our brand colors, which you can see right here, or by using the eyedropper tool. Here we'll be getting the color from the block above to create a seamless look. Now for this block, we don't want this layout as it looks too text heavy and can be overwhelming for your client. So what we'll do is we'll use the visual accordion feature. And we can get that by clicking on the plus sign and selecting accordion. By going to the style button, we can select simple or visual. So let's go for visual and select the images that we want to use. This represents A on our grade acronym, which stands for artistry. By adding imagery using our visual accordion, we enhance the visual impact of our overview. I'm going with this image for the first one, and let's grab the text for the first accordion by copying and pasting. Just repeat the process for the next two. And we're done. You can also change the button styles to however you see fit. I chose this so that it's more visible. Now we're just going to repeat the process for the next two accordions. There we go. And last but not least, success metrics. All right. Just the image for this last one. There we go. Now, we'll work on the testimonial block. As you can see, I already added a splash background and the 2-column, including an image to add a bit more visual appeal to the block. What we'll do here is to change the header into H1 and the testimonial to quote style. You may also opt to change the size of the text. I'm going to set it into 20 so that it is less overwhelming. Setting the testimonial to quote style represents emphasis on our acronym. This highlights a key message on our proposal, which is positive feedback of the service or products we provided from our previous client. Next, let's add an accept block so customers can accept our proposal. Just go click the plus sign and click accept, where you will see 3 options to choose from. We're going to go with the basic or the first option for now. Our accept blocks also now come with the agreements feature, which makes it easy to create professional and formal looking documents from within your Qwilr proposals. To add, just click on the add agreement button on the left and choose blank or any of your saved agreements and you're good to go. Since our document already has a terms and conditions section, we're just going to copy the text, click on blank agreement, and paste our terms and condition over here. We can title it terms and condition as well. Oops. Terms and conditions. There we go. You want the color to be black so that it stands out, and you can add a call to action as well. Ready to get started, for example. So there you go. We can now delete this block since we're not using it anymore. For our case study block, we already added the splash background and the 2-column, including an image to add a bit more visual appeal to the block, similar to our testimonial block. As you can see, the first 2-column has a wider width. We'll need to reduce that so that our 2-column is aligned with our text at the top and the bottom. When your content is aligned, it creates consistency, which makes your elements look more organized, connected, and integrated rather than scattered. So adding a case study on your proposals represent tailored in our grade acronym. By including case studies relevant to the current service or product that you are offering to your prospects, they'll know that you have a reputable experience on your offers and that they can trust you to help them on what they need. Last but not the least, for the contact block, we've added the splash background as well as an image. To recap, this is how the original document looks like. And here is the page that we created. You can see the difference of using Qwilr as your sales proposal software. I hope you learned some helpful designing skills on our live demo, but we're not yet done. Let's move on to our design class tips that can help you enhance your pages. The first tip would be to use GIFs or GIFs to add movement to your proposals. Various uses include product features, data visualizations, before and after comparisons, as well as team introductions. This falls under artistry on our great acronym. Tip number 2. Make sure to select background colors that harmonize well with the overall scheme of your proposal. Use up to 3 consecutive backgrounds of different harmonizing colors, then add the light colored background after to give your customers a visual break from the patterns and colors used in previous blocks. This can be included under readability of our acronym. Why? Because having a visual break allows your users to refresh their vision and they won't have a hard time focusing on the next parts of your sales material. Tip number 3, maximize the use of our 2-column feature by experimenting with how you want to present your content. This falls under artistry as well as tailored. Tip number 4, integrate images, icons, or graphics on important parts of your blocks to enhance visual representation. Again, this falls under artistry, but also under gather and group. How? By separating your content into different sections and adding images, you create a visual hierarchy and it improves the organization of your page. Last but not the least is tip number 5. Always add the contact block to your proposals. This tip may not necessarily fall under grade, but it's always helpful for your customers to easily reach out to you. And that's it for our demonstration. Let's move on to the next part of our session, which is the live Q&A.